talking about the upcoming film from director M. Night Shyamalan, Glass, starring Samuel L. Jackson, James McAvoy, Bruce Willis, and Sarah Paulson.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys, here's what we know so far. Security guard David Dunn uses his supernatural abilities to track Kevin Wendell Crumb, a disturbed man who has 24 personalities.
So that's it? That's all we know?
Yeah, that's all. No other information has been given.
So everyone here has seen Unbreakable and Split, right?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes.
All right, so let me ask you guys a question. What is your favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie? I'll start.
You want to
After
know.
Earth. No, I'm kidding.
I'm kidding.
There was a hush over the audience there because we were all a little concerned.
No, I was actually ready to kind of support Neil through this a little bit. Be like,
No, really, it's great. And I'll tell you why.
No,
I'm lying. I've never even seen that movie. But I did see Devil. I'm counting that.
It's a
I
great
know
movie.
he didn't direct it, but he wrote it. And it's one of the... I think it is. It's one of the best M. Night Shyamalan movies that's out there.
Oh, I really like Devil.
I didn't want to go with The Sixth Sense because that's a cop-out. I mean... What? I think The Sixth Sense a cop-out.
Harsh.
Just saying, it's a great movie.
You haven't heard any of our opinions yet you're already
I know, I'm just like,
discouraging
bam!
everyone from saying these
I
are the bad
preemptively
ones.
struck somebody's.
No.
number one.
I agree with you.
All right, so you're going with the devil.
Yeah.
My favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie is The Village.
Ooh,
I love The
ballsy
Village.
choice.
I love the creatures. I love
good
what
movie.
they did with it. Bryce Dallas Howard,
Love it.
the blind lady.
She played great. She was
Adrian
great.
Brody, fantastic.
Yeah.
It's just like William Hurt, just a great cast. It was fun. Anyone who saw the twist coming is full of garbage because that was pretty badass. how it came out.
You know what?
I did not see
I'm
that
not
coming.
going to say I saw the twist coming, but knowing it was an M. Night Shyamalan film, I spent the whole movie going, "What's the twist? What's the twist?" And I thought, and I remember I had that moment where I was just like, maybe like 20 minutes into the film being like, oh, the creatures are actually the people and they're just dressed up. And then when something was revealed for that, I was just like, that's the twist? Whoa, that's interesting. That wasn't the twist. That was not the twist. So I actually kind of, I respect that movie for that way. However, I will throw my hat into the ring. Unpopular.
Throw those glasses into the ring.
No way.
Yeah, get those out of here.
I'm cool Nick today, and
In his own
Street
minds,
Nick.
anyway.
it's
Street Nick.
also
Yeah,
like
Street Nick.
1 degree outside. So
So you need sunglasses?
yeah, because it's really bright. All that snow.
Sure, okay.
So that's what all the reflecting here. If you watch the video of this, it's just a bunch of cool reflections. Speaking of reflections, I like Lady in the Water.
Ooh.
Now, a lot of people don't like this film.
Yeah.
Craig. And I'm not going to necessarily defend it, but I will tell you there are reasons that I like it that kind of supersede any sort of reasons people don't like it. In the sense of like I love fairy tales. I'm a sucker for fairy tales, and I thought this movie was completely unbelievable. And so it's likable because it's charming. I thought Paul Giamatti was just perfect in his role, and it's also the twist wasn't really much of a twist. It was just kind of like, oh, it was happenstance, and I don't know. I just have good. I also saw it at a good time in my life, and I really have like a strong connection. I like how everyone in that little what is it? What would you call it? Like a development, a little
like a
complex,
apartment
complex.
Yeah.
Like everyone had like their role, and it just was this neat story, and I just really enjoyed it a lot. And I thought the wolf was freaking awesome and terrifying at the same time. So I really like that movie. Not to say I don't like other M. Night Shyamalan films. Shyamalan, yeah. Shyamalan.
Well,
Ding dong.
I apparently am full of cop-outs, Neil. My favorite one is The Sixth Sense. Only because I really don't like scary movies at all. Like, I get scared very easily. And for me, I felt like The Sixth Sense, was one of those that I was very scared to see it, but then it was, so worth seeing because it was not scary just to be scary. It was, there was a lot going on, and there was an interesting story. And Bruce Willis is great in that movie, when Bruce Willis isn't always great in everything. And
I agree with that.
Wrong.
No, I agree with that.
He's good at all.
And Toni Collette, Craig's
He's a little
favorite.
bag.
Oh,
There it is.
it's just, I don't know. It's just really good, and it stands up even, and it's fun to watch after you know what happens already.
Yeah,
you know?
to look
So,
at the subtle little
I
things.
think
Yeah.
it's interesting, and it's what made his name. You know, I
How's
just-
Donnie
name?
Wahlberg.
Yeah, and I mean, freaking Donnie Wahlberg. It's crazy.
Yeah,
It's
he
crazy.
was like under 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And man, no.
It's just great. It's a great movie, and you know, whatever. You can think it's a cop out, but it's a great movie. But I like most. I think The Happening might be the only M. Night Shyamalan movie I don't like. So
You know why?
Mark Wahlberg.
Because the wrong Wahlberg. was
But it has Zooey Deschanel in it.
Yeah, no.
Nothing.
I don't really feel like I kind of felt like The Happening was like just a really long trailer to a movie I do want to see.
Yeah.
Where it's just kind of
True.
like it's like no one figures out what's going on. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, the trees hate us. Like
That sounds fair.
come on.
Pretty pissed.
How do you feel about the theory? Did you ever like look into like the other theories involved in this, that the kid is actually dead?
No.
So if you watch the film, if you kind of watch the idea with that the kid is also a ghost. It's just one of those like fan theories that.
Interesting.
But like that movie set a standard for horror films, but also set a standard for cinema and storytelling. Yes, it put M. Night Shyamalan on the map as far as like, oh, it's a twist.
Right.
But like it was a serious role for Bruce Willis, but also it was a really it was a dark movie with a positive message. And,
Sure.
and there weren't a lot of movies like that.
Yeah.
So I do love The Sixth Sense.
Now, what other movies do you think were inspired by The Sixth Sense that came after that? You know, if you say that it sets the standard,
I do have.
I feel like it's got its
horror
own niche. It's an
No,
M.
no,
Night
no.
Shyamalan movie. There isn't
No.
any others,
So like
in my
movies,
opinion. That
movies like
Beautiful Mind.
A Beautiful Mind.
Yeah. Derived from.
Because Paul Bettany.
Yeah.
everything goes back to A Beautiful Mind
Yeah,
for
it's-
Craig.
It's always a beautiful
no,
mind.
like
guys.
movies like Get Out, movies like slow burn horror movies.
Hereditary comes to mind.
Hereditary. Movies where you know that there's something going on, but you spend the whole time trying to figure out what it is, and then in that whole time you also get sucked into this life of these like really dynamic characters. And you know, Get Out, I really feel like just used the format the same way.
Yeah.
And Us looks awesome too.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm a big horror fan. So
Yeah.
also so.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best things about Shyamalan though, is that he like towed that line of like it's sort of horror, but it's more thriller, but it's like I don't know. It was almost like accessible.
Yeah.
Like he's really in his best when he's in that like PG-13 thriller element, you know? Like that's where he shines.
Some of the most intense jump scares are in The Sixth Sense.
gosh.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Where like
Where the girl appears underneath the sheet and she just,
Yeah.
just starts
Oh,
vomiting
so bad.
the
it's like-
cereal. I'm like, yeah.
it's one of those things. It's like you see it happening and you're just like, oh what?
Yeah.
Oh.
So good. All right, so now let's get into the top 12 reasons why we want to see Glass.
Yeah.
Yes.
Number 12, a shared sequel. This film will mark one of the few times two studios have worked together for a shared universe. Unbreakable was released by Buena Vista, a Disney property, while Split was produced by Blumhouse and released by Universal. This time, Blumhouse is still going to produce Glass, but we know now that it's a full-fledged sequel. Shyamalan said about the project, this is a once-in-a-lifetime movie in that Disney, which owns Unbreakable, and Split, which is owned by Universal, agreed to team up for the film. I don't think it'll ever happen again where two studios had two IPs they completely owned, and I said, can we make a sequel to both and you guys share it? And they said yes. In order to allow the character of David Dunn to appear in the Split film, Shyamalan struck the deal that for Glass, Disney will receive all the worldwide box office while Universal will get all the domestic box office.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy that they're playing ball.
It's pretty crazy, and it's pretty crazy that he struck the deal by himself, because apparently when he took the script when they were, getting ready to shoot Split, and they were like, we're gonna have David Dunn up here, and they were like, you can't do that, like Disney's gonna freak out, you can't do that, and he's like, no guys, I got it handled. Like, he did that.
Hold my beer,
yeah.
I got this.
Like what? Like, you just walked up to Disney and we're like, yeah, we're gonna do this, and they were okay with it.
He knows their language, money.
Money. Yeah.
Okay.
If you can make some money on this, let's do it.
But you know what's really great is there are people who still are aware of the movie Split and still don't know that it's a sequel to Unbreakable.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's a great twist in its own.
Yeah.
So I actually, when Split came out, I was torn because I work in mental health, and I absolutely, I just, movies that talk about people who struggle with mental health, it's a double-edged sword for me, because I do love horror films, but Split they were very responsible with how they handled that, because they were like, yeah, he suffers from, dissociative identity disorder and multiple personalities disorder, but not like anyone else ever has before. He is something different.
Right.
And I like that they made that so clear. They kind of beat you over the head several times with it.
That's true.
But it was I thought somewhat responsible, but also mysterious still enough where you're still scared, of what's going to happen while you're watching Split.
Right.
So. And the Beast.
The Beast.
So cool.
Beast is gonna get you.
So cool.
Well, speaking of people who didn't know, number 11 is Sammy didn't know. So before seeing Split, Sam Jackson had no prior knowledge that Split was connected to Unbreakable. Also, we learned, too, that the character of Kevin was originally supposed to appear in Unbreakable, but was cut just to focus on the characters of David and Elijah. A fun Easter egg in Split is that one of Kevin's personalities is named Mr. Pritchard, who is a character from Signs that's played by Michael Showalter. So, I guess my question is, do you guys feel like we know that these three movies are connected, but now that we have the connection to Signs, do you think that M. Night Shyamalan's movies sort of appear in their own universe? Are they like a setup where they're all sort
and
of
I also don't think
together?
that there's a connection to Signs either.
But Mr. Pritchard.
Yeah, but here's the
Was it
thing.
just a nod? Was it
Signs
just a
Signs
name?
takes place in a world where there was an alien invasion and it wasn't hidden. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
and like to.
I mean, unless the aliens were somehow responsible for everybody's powers, then maybe that might be the tie-in.
But it seems like a gross over, like obviously aliens were here. You know what I mean?
Right,
like, it's not a part.
Did
of
you see
Split.
American Horror Story season 2?
They did a little bit of that. Well, maybe because the aliens came, that's why the plants got upset and they were involved with the happening. It's all connected.
There are movies that could fit in. Like, I think The Happening could have fit in. Lady in the Water could have totally fit in.
Yeah.
This world where there are people who are special as far as their abilities.
Yeah.
I think that does fit into an M. Night Shyamalan thing, but I don't think he's the kind of director that's trying to make a shared universe. And I appreciate that about him, because I was surprised when I saw Split and I saw Bruce Willis in it, because I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
And then, but that's a rarity. He doesn't have a lot of sequels or follow-ups to any of his intellectual properties.
He doesn't have.
Nothing
Does he
to
have
them.
any? He doesn't have
No.
any.
No.
Nothing was
Now,
ever.
do you guys feel like that was shoehorned in? I mean, if you took that ending with David Dunn and you just clipped it and put it to the end of any movie,
Yeah, totally.
you'd have the same effect. Now, was there any foreshadowing in Split that when you got there, you went, "Oh, I've seen the movie once. I don't know."
You've triggered.
I'm playing
You've
devil's.
triggered.
I'm playing devil's advocate right now.
You've triggered.
Yeah, you look like you have a lot on your mind.
I don't know if we want to jump ahead too much
Oh,
here,
okay,
but
all
there
right,
are
all right.
definitely
We'll talk about that
things
again.
that nod towards connections.
Yeah.
To Split, from between Split and Unbreakable before that happens.
All
Yeah.
right.
For sure.
Cool.
For sure.
Very good.
We'll talk about it. We'll see.
Sorry, didn't mean to jump the gun there.
Number 10. Fifth time's a charm. So Glass will mark the 5th time that Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson have teamed up in a movie?
Yeah.
Can you name the other 4 films?
I'm wearing one of them. I'm wearing one of them.
Tasty burger?
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction. Yep.
That's right. Pulp Fiction's one of them. One of my favorite movies on one of our
The
lists.
best Die Hard
Die
film.
Hard with a
Yep.
Vengeance.
Yep.
The best one.
Unbreakable, of course.
Yes.
Unbreakable, yes. And National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon.
One. The first one.
Yep. Yeah.
They made so many sequels to that, remember?
No.
They didn't have any follow-ups. That was the only one. I don't know. It was a spoof.
I don't know what it is.
It was a spoof off
They
of
have
Lethal Weapon.
Leslie Nielsen?
No, that's
No.
you're
It's
thinking,
Emilio Estevez.
Yeah.
You're thinking Naked
Same.
Gun.
I am thinking of Naked Gun.
It was just a spoof off of
Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon. That's
Yeah.
all. With Sam Jackson and Emilio Estevez. So Emilio Estevez played the Mel Gibson role.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yep. Never.
Don't bother.
I've got it if you want to borrow it.
I still haven't even seen the original.
Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, I've never seen Lethal Weapons.
Any of them.
I've seen 4. I saw 4. I saw Lethal Weapon 4.
Because it had Chris
Jumped
Rock
right
in it.
ahead.
You're just like
Yeah.
at the video store and you're just like, well, I could see number 1, but I mean, 4. The 4th has got to be a lot better,
Yeah,
right?
I like Jet Li. Jet Li was big back
Exactly.
in the 90s, and I worked
yeah.
at Blockbuster Video, and it came out, and I said, well, I'll take this home today. And I watched it, okay? I watched it.
I'm very sorry, Neil.
I'll tell you what, I
Wow.
did not need to see the 1, 2, and 3 to figure out what the hell was going on in the
Able
4th
to
one.
understand,
I can
yeah.
attest to that.
It's true.
You didn't know why they were too old for this, though.
I
You had
didn't
no
care.
idea. You
I
had no
didn't
idea.
care.
If you were to watch, if you were to watch any other, Lethal Weapon movie, watch Lethal Weapon 2, but just fast forward to the very last 5 minutes, just so you can see a guy say diplomatic immunity, and then get him, he gets shot down. He dies.
Wow.
Spoiler alert.
Oh,
Spoiler
see,
alert.
this is why I don't need to watch these movies.
No. And it was also a time where like every action film had to have a ridiculously awkward sex scene in it. Ooh. So, yeah.
All right.
Which one had that? Number 2?
2 and
2.
and 1 I think had one too. Or maybe
yeah.
whatever.
Because it was Rene Russo, right?
No, Renee Russo was in 3 and
she's
4.
3 and 4.
Oh my
Wow,
God.
you know a lot about Lethal Weapon, Nick.
Yeah.
I
he's a
love
big-
that. I love
he's a
stupid
big-
action films.
Wow.
And the thing is, I don't like any of those movies, but it just for some reason it sticks in my brain.
But you don't like
You're
Loaded Weapon.
selling this, Nick. You're selling it. To
Loaded
me.
Weapon.
Marathon.
No, don't bother. Don't bother.
Watch
but
it, watch it.
watch Die Hard at least.
All right.
If you can. So
Number 9, the East Rail 177 trilogy. So fans of the studio have begun using the term East Rail 177 to encompass the Unbreakable universe, similar to the Conjuring universe. The East Rail number 177 refers to the train that derailed in Unbreakable. In Split, it is revealed that Kevin's dad left on a train, and many people believe that he was killed on the East Rail 177 that David Dunn survived, bringing the two stories together.
Ooh.
So there's some more connections for
there's
you,
the
Neil.
connection.
Yeah. So in the movie,
That makes sense.
Yeah, in Split, when he goes to Dr. Fletcher the first time and they're talking, they discuss. She wants to talk about the beast more and where the beast came from, and he says that he lives in a train yard. And she wonders if that's because his dad left on a train and never came back. And then later on in the movie, you see him lay flowers down at the train station. So people have definitely begun to speculate, like, oh, well, is that the train that derailed in Unbreakable? That's where his dad died. So
and that makes sense that it would be only
Right.
because
Yeah.
it's such an epic part of the Unbreakable story.
Right.
Like
Right.
it
It was
was
the
a
beginning.
It was a
essentially
well.
the-
It's
the
the
start
a
of it.
tragic event,
Yeah.
and
the
there's
catalyst.
no way that he survived,
right,
but he did.
right,
And so, it also kind of brings animosity between the Kevin character and Bruce Willis, and
And even more with Bruce Willis's son, because he's going to be in Glass as well too. Like his dad survived, and
He's on the poster.
and Kevin's
Oh,
dad
really?
didn't survive. So it was like, oh, your dad lived, my dad didn't. And, they're gonna, yeah,
I did not catch
yeah.
that. Oh
it's
wow.
it's
People
gonna be
have started to notice
crazy.
too, like going back and watching again. It's some of those things that's like, are you noticing because you know that they're connected or not? But when you go back and watch Unbreakable, because originally Shyamalan wanted the Kevin character in Unbreakable, it was all going to be one story, but then he took it out for time. Do you remember in Unbreakable when the guy was looking at art in Elijah's store and he has the photo of Superman fighting essentially a beast.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's a very realistic drawing. And the guy's like, my kid's going to love it. And he refuses to sell it to him. That photo is like a very, it's a beast.
It's iconic.
It looks
Oh, wow.
like
Yeah.
the way sort of, that James McAvoy's character looks as the beast. So people are wondering if that was originally part of that first storyline.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you watch Split, you find out that every one of his personalities serves a purpose. And
Right.
the Beast is not this necessarily. It's like it's what helped him survive, but it's also this super character. So
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So I think there's definitely, I think he originally had all this in his mind for Unbreakable, and then now is just trying to flesh it out. So the connections are kind of naturally there, less than shoehorned in.
Nice.
So
All right.
yeah.
That's cool. That's very cool.
It's all coming together, guys.
I feel
It's all
better.
coming up, Shyamalan.
Yeah,
It's all coming up. Shyamalan.
I don't think that's gonna catch on.
Come on.
it might.
All right. Number 8, director cameo. M. Night Shyamalan has appeared in 8 of his 10 major release films as a character or a cameo. You guys talked about this before and had it wrong because none of you remember that his character was actually in Split, as you were
Her
discussing on the
bad.
pod, and I was screaming.
That's why we need to have you
He
on more
was-
often.
Wait, who was he in Split?
He was the soup at the apartment building. He sits down with her and watches the cameras. That's how she sees that Kevin is faking his personality.
God, I
sit
think I
down, they have
blocked that.
conversations.
He's eating the wings.
Yeah,
He's
they're
got the pile of
eating.
wings there.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Wow.
Oh wow.
We
I'm
forgot.
So
My
great
bad.
job, guys.
My
great
bad.
job
We forgot.
researching
Listen, we're not professionals.
Yeah.
All right.
there. So as of now, he's not listed as a credit in Glass, so maybe he will just have a cameo rather than being an actual character
Yeah.
in this one. But I just think it's interesting to see. I mean, it's funny because sometimes he really puts himself in there, and you're like,
Dude,
take a step back
come on.
here. But
Get it.
Right.
You're the director.
That's one of the reasons I like Lady in the Water is because he actually has a role in Lady of the Water, even though it is the most pretentious one. He's the reluctant creator of the story. Like, okay,
He's the
yeah, dude,
genius
you're
writer.
exactly
Right.
like, wow, good job, buddy. But like, I don't know, Whereas that's the only part of the village I didn't like was his cameo.
the reflection. In the,
Yeah,
in the
like I just
fridge,
felt like
yeah.
that was just so. Come on, but I don't know.
I thought it was cool.
I know
You
you
liked-
did.
you liked
I know
that.
you did. That's
Signs is a little more like
Yeah, like
subtle. Like
well, but he killed Mel
But he
Gibson's
killed Mel Gibson's wife,
you know.
yeah.
Spoiler alert.
eh.
What? Remember when she was pinned in the tree and he's the
Right.
driver?
and then he became a cop
Yeah.
and drank a lot and
Yeah.
partners up with Danny Glover.
Yeah. And
For
what?
Lethal
Wait, that happened before.
Wait.
What's going on here?
It's a
It's all going
twist.
down.
It's
Yeah.
an M. Night Shyamalan twist.
Yeah.
So wait, in Signs he killed. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
He was a
Signs
driver.
he's responsible.
Mm-hmm.
I think I told
then
you
he-
guys before. I don't remember things that happen in movies. I just
Swing
remember-
away, swing
And
away.
then he,
like
he
the way I
trapped
feel.
he trapped the alien in the pantry in his house.
Yep, I remember
was-
that.
Yeah, the part he's trying to leave.
Yep.
Yeah. Eh.
My
Yeah.
brain is a sieve. It's just-
And then he's accused of having drugs on him in Unbreakable at the stadium.
That's right. Yep.
That's his role.
See, that was a good that was a
That was
good
a good
cameo.
cameo.
Yeah.
That was a good cameo because it's what you don't realize that it's him right away, and you're like, oh, ha!
Oh, ha! See, yeah.
I haven't seen either of his like family for Last Airbender or After Earth. Is he in those
Yeah.
also?
He's in Last Airbender.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. After Earth was pretty much just
Will Smith. And
Will
Jaden.
Smith and Jaden.
I wanted Last Airbender to be acceptably okay to watch. It's so
just watch the cartoon.
it's
Just
the,
watch
the
the
cartoon is great. Avatar, the cartoon is great.
Yep.
It has Dev
This-
Patel in it though.
they took this great property and made this horrifyingly terrible CGI mess where every character is whitewashed. Not that I complain about that too much, but like there's no come on. And nowadays like come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
He should know better.
Come on, man.
Ugh. Last Airbender.
He's moved on. It's
After
okay.
Earth.
It's okay. It's okay.
Come on.
There's been some good ones though. All right, some good cameos. So he's gonna get a cameo in this one because
I
like the
think
woman,
so.
the psychiatrist's dead, so like there's no reason for him to go back to the apartment.
Well,
where
hang on a
he's-
second.
Spoiler
So-
alert.
Wait,
Right?
who did he play in Unbreakable?
He was just a guy at the stadium that David Dunn did security at. He was being accused of having drugs on him.
Now, what happened to his character at that point? Did he go to jail? Did he?
He's forgettable because it's such an after.
So
it's such a little like just regular day in the job kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that guy he must have got through those charges somehow, and now he works
soup at an apartment building.
yes,
or
right.
was one.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
And now we'll have to see how his character developed. In
We're gonna watch for the M. Night Shyamalan development.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a part-time worker at a comic book shop.
Ooh,
maybe.
Totally works.
Okay. Or he's working at the psychiatric hospital.
I was gonna say, I think he'll pop up as like an orderly or something at the hospital.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And the beast just takes him out.
Yeah, just did.
Suplex style.
Awesome.
Then he won't be able to appear in the next one.
Oh, he said there's no more. He said no sequel to
Oh, really?
Glass. He said it's not happening. There's
That's it.
no
This
chance.
is-
Thank goodness. Let's
This
hope.
is it. What if it's great? We want to see more.
No, then make another freaking movie.
Ooh.
Make something else.
Harsh.
Like people always want to make sequels to stuff, and some things have great sequels, and I love sequels, but like you can do more besides just like milking off the same property. And there's too many
You
people
call it
that do
Shattered. Shattered, you know? You had Unbreakable, Split,
that. I think
Glass,
it's time we
Shattered.
move on to the next point.
All right, fine. Number 7, guys. Number 7. The Beast and Where to Find It. So in Split, we witness 8 of Kevin's now 24 personalities. Dennis, Patricia, Hedwig, Barry, Jade, Orwell, Unrich, and, of course, Kevin. The other names listed we've seen, somewhat in the trailer and some on the computer, were Norma, Goddard, Bernice, Polly, Luke, Raquel, Felicia, Ansel, Jalen, and Kat. So, us going into Glass, how many do you think we'll get to see all 24 personalities now? Do you think they'll stick with the ones that worked so well in the first one to sort of encompass who Kevin has become? What do you guys think as far as
I kind of
the
felt
other
like the
personalities?
24 personalities thing was kind of a like if you were reading a report on somebody, they're like up to 24. It's slightly exaggerated.
But the psychiatrist knew that there was 23 personalities until the Beast came up.
Right, from a report though. Not necessarily like she's met all 24 necessarily.
But he did have on his computer when Casey was looking at the
Videos.
computer and Split videos of
Right.
all of his personalities.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, I think it's focusing on the wrong necessary thing. Like, it's not like a person with that disorder should be limited to a number. It can be each personality, again, like you find out in Split, each personality served a purpose, so they can be created and destroyed at will. Really. But also I want to say that, like, it's odd that somebody would have a personality, disorder where each has a name. That's a thing that was made up in the 90s when people were doing news stories where people were just like, this is Patricia and this is Martin, and it made selling the story that much more easy to digest because these were
they
different.
had
They had
persona
names.
to
They
put
were
with it.
exactly, but like. I think James McAvoy does a great job of shifting his character completely, and you can tell without him talking at all that his personality has changed just by how he's holding his eyes, how he's and I love that.
Posture.
But do I think we're gonna see more personalities? I actually hope not, because I want them to focus more on the Glass aspect of the storyline.
I want to see one extra personality in this story, and it's going to be here's my prediction, that there's going to be one personality that wants to stop all the madness happening living in Kevin, and all
like
the
not
other
just
personalities.
Kevin, but some other personality.
Right.
Okay.
I think you saw that a little
not
bit with like
the
Barry.
child.
Oh no, Hedwig
Hedwig.
is just
Hedwig.
chaos
Yeah,
in
no.
body. Yeah, like
Well,
Yeah.
but that's what it was presented in the Split. Like, there's an innocent one.
nope. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
As
I
there's
think
dancing.
I
Yeah.
think you
no,
definitely
but there
saw
is
that.
like, I'd like to see just one personality that's just going to try and unlock the whole thing, or just bring the whole thing
Sure.
down, and all the other personalities are trying to keep that one.
That's
I
like
thought that was
aware.
one of the best parts of Split, when you finally saw that moment, that shift when he was Kevin all of a sudden again, and it was like
Yeah.
like you said, that shift that he didn't even need to start speaking before you saw it. Like, oh my gosh,
what have I done?
Yeah. What day is it? Like all that. I think it would be interesting to see only because James did such a good job embodying all the different personalities that like I just would like to see him do more of that. But I think people, again, have gotten sort of attachment to the characters he played, which is funny because he's playing all the same character, but like the Patricia character, the Dennis character, Hedwig, like people are probably going to want to see, and I think we're going to see a lot more time of him spent as the Beast in this movie.
Sure.
So I think the time when he's not the Beast, they'll probably focus on those characters we already know.
Yeah, and I think I feel like he has characters that really work well on film, like Patricia. Like,
right,
that's my favorite.
She really works.
Yeah.
It really works because it's actually just it's James McAvoy's accent being James McAvoy.
Right.
You know, like
one,
but slightly effeminate and what I hope and just because we're on this topic a little bit, what I hope to see is that they don't kind of try to generalize this. I want them to keep issuing that this is something that Kevin experiences. This is not something that other people experience. There's no cases of other people having, massive personality traits that give them.
So you don't want
rage.
you don't want to see Patricia or Sarah Paulson like relating this to anything else. Like
Well,
other
in the
people
first trailer for
Beast.
Glass,
Yeah.
she establishes that he's the only one that has this special affliction. But like, I don't want to see. What I don't want to see is copycat movies. I don't want to see movies or like characters that are in other movies, ensemble movies that are like him. You know, I want this to be just a thing that Kevin experienced.
So you're the comic book aficionado here. Legion,
right?
How is that?
So Legion is
compared
different.
to,
But Legion is different though because Legion doesn't have multiple personalities. Legion's mutant ability is he actually absorbs the life essences, the personalities of other people. So
And
like
we're talking about the TV show Legion, not the Paul Bettany Legion movie, correct?
Oh yeah, no, the TV show Legion, but also the comic book character Magneto's son. No, I'm sorry, Charles Xavier's son.
Oh, okay.
Legion.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
oops, spoiler alert. I guess I don't know, but wow, that's weird. It's a strange M. Night Shyamalan connection. James McAvoy plays Charles Xavier, and
We've got Legion.
oh boy, M. Night, you got us again.
That's the twist.
All right. Well, let's move on to number 6. It's Elemental. In all M. Night films, he uses similar devices such as a setting in Pennsylvania, his use of color, hues, in certain characters. So, like the use of red in The Sixth Sense, blue in Lady in the Water, purple and green for the hero and villain in Unbreakable, which I absolutely love when they do that.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, and also the plot twist. That's an M. Night Shyamalan thing. In the trailer for Glass, we can see some of these traits, but do you feel like this will be a departure for him or stay true to form?
I hope it feels like standalone. Like I hope it doesn't it's a sequel to these movies, that it's like its own movie you could watch, like we were watching Split and not realizing it was something else. So I hope it's like
Now, was
an
there color
evolution.
coding in Split? I feel like orange was prominent.
I feel like the yellow is kind of like the orangey yellow is the color they're sort of using.
I felt like,
for his character.
and I might be remembering wrong, but I felt like depending on the character or depending on the personality he was portraying, there was a different filter on the film.
Yeah, that could be too.
So
yeah, I think so too. So I don't know if it was like predominant that it was happening, but there was some use of that for sure in Split, I think.
But comparing Split and Unbreakable together, those are two very cinematically different films.
Yeah.
Like Split follows a completely different line of filmmaking where it's just kind of like it's a psycho story. It's a story of like, oh, these people are gonna do this and this is awesome, and then all of a sudden everything goes crazy. Whereas like Unbreakable, that is brooding and moody. Something tragic is going and following along. It's got slow pacing, whereas like Split just punches you in the face with like action and creepiness all the time. So
Agreed.
I feel like thematically those movies don't fit together. However, I'm hoping that Glass tries to
Brings
combine
them.
the two.
I agree, and I think it'll definitely be a continuation. I mean, Elijah, we already seen his characterization is like predominantly still in the very purple hues and tones.
Yeah.
Sam Jackson's favorite color.
Sam Jackson's favorite color, yeah.
It's the color of royalty.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it is, and I like those things. I don't know. I think there are a lot of directors now who, because of the way that the studio system is gone, are sort of just fitting into molds. They're like, oh, I'm going to do this big movie now, and you
Right.
lose a lot of the sense of them. And I like that about M. Night Shyamalan, that you can tell when it's his movie. You can tell from the style. You can
Yeah.
tell from things like the colors. You can tell when you're like, oh my gosh, this is all in Pennsylvania because he loves Pennsylvania. Like, I like those things. I think
Yeah.
it makes it feel like his movie instead of just like, oh, I got this script and I'm just going to make this movie sort of. You know?
Right. Placing it. Yeah, I really love directors that have their own touch, and there's a lot of directors out there that kind of throw their own thing. And like you can always tell when Tim Burton directed a film
Right.
because of
Yeah.
things that he did. M. Night Shyamalan, though, like there are times where I'm like, I don't like this movie at all, but I appreciate that this is an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Sure.
Like it still felt like Avatar or After Earth. Oh God, that movie's so. But it still felt like M. Night Shyamalan, not necessarily in the twist, but like he has this way of laying the ground for storytelling, and then he has this like, oh, this is the story and this is the base, and then goes off and does this weird. I don't know, like he brings in all these extra characters and somehow ties it all together in the end. Even if I don't like the movie very much, I still appreciate his ability to tell a story. So,
Oh yeah.
Agreed.
so we'll see. We'll see. Glass. I'm nervous about Glass.
Oh, don't be nervous.
I think it's gonna be good, but like I don't know.
They what I'm not nervous about is
I'm down.
they have released so much footage, like so many trailers, so many different versions, that there's got to be so much more that we're
That's
not
the thing.
seeing.
We're seeing the
Like,
same things packaged
Yeah.
again and again.
Well, like this is like little teenagers. And
in Glass.
In Glass.
Is-
well,
Well,
there's the
Casey's still there.
Casey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And then his son
and his son. Yeah.
is
But
Weird.
And Elijah Price's mom.
Weird. I'm waiting to see that interaction.
yeah,
That's gonna be
right,
cool.
Right?
Yeah.
That's gonna be crazy.
I didn't even think. I wasn't even thinking of that.
yeah, I feel like the parts we're seeing in the trailer, that in the asylum and all that, is going to be very like
Brief.
early
We've
on and
seen,
brief,
like,
and then it's just going to Sarah move right on. Yeah.
2 minutes of a 2-hour-long movie. That's what we've seen.
That's
Yeah.
right. Right.
It's
Well,
crazy.
yeah, and that is like also take Sarah Paulson for instance. Like
Great.
I love her. She's awesome. She's the reason I've watched all
Horror
the
Story.
seasons of American Horror Story, which some I like, some I don't. Sorry.
And the OJ.
But Sarah
The
Paulson,
She was Marsha Clark in the OJ.
she was so
I
great.
didn't see that.
She was
That's
so
awesome.
great. Cuba Gooding Jr. didn't that great of a job, but she saved it. But anyway, she's one of those actors which I'll see in a film and I'll be like, I'm not sure of what your role is. Like she holds everything really like close to her heart, where everything is just kind of like she's either the villain or maybe she's the sympathetic person that you like. And I don't know. She's a very great character actor, and I really hope that her role isn't like cut short in this.
Yeah, I think there's going to be something more with her for
Yeah.
sure. She
Yeah.
just,
Like she's
too good to be.
she's like masterminding this
Yeah.
whole
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, well, we
you
saw her in
know?
the trailer. She's like flashing those lights to make Kevin's different personalities come out. Like
Well,
there's that,
that's
you know?
actually I mean, I'm not talking on the science completely about this, but that's actually a photorealistic. It's a type of therapy. I mean, it does work for some people.
This movies about like mental health and watching them with
So
you.
hard.
You ever watch like a cop show with a cop, and they constantly go, "Oh, that's not how you do it. Let me show you how you cuff somebody. That's totally wrong." That's what's
No, I'll own it. I own it
not that
because
there's anything wrong with it.
No, no.
Absolutely not. I totally appreciate it. But
No. But there are times though. There are times where I'll just be like really pissed off because like somebody's using a form in a film where it's like they would never use that form.
That's the wrong form. They
It's
need
like,
form.
what?
takes me right out of the movie.
That makes no sense. So yeah, watching those movies with myself is really tough.
A difficult
So.
situation. Okay.
Number 5, grounded in fantasy. M. Night was quoted at Comic-Con saying that this is the first truly grounded comic book movie. In this age of so many properties being turned into big screen adaptations, every viewer is universally looking forward for something different. Marvel is very fantasy, whereas the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy was very real world. Unbreakable was definitely a movie based on the comics, but did you see that in Split as a comic book movie? Do you see that actually happening?
I didn't feel it. I didn't. Again, there was the comic aspect with Elijah in Unbreakable that was like, okay, you can see the comic book part of this. And
In a very literal sense.
Right, like, hell, here's what I'm trying to find.
He's seriously
the hero.
looking at comic books.
Right,
you
but
know?
he doesn't. But in Split, I didn't feel it as a comic book movie, I guess.
Yeah, neither did I. I mean, like with Unbreakable, when you saw Unbreakable, is he super strong or not? Is he actually unbreakable or not? And then it's not until the end where it's just like, oh shit, he is.
Right.
Same with Split. Is this beast a real thing, or is this just a figment of his imagination? Oh, and it's real. You know what I mean? So
We saw him 8 people.
But for M. Night to say, what was it? This is truly the first grounded comic book movie. Like,
yeah, that's.
I mean, I think all that does is just show that M. Night Shyamalan doesn't really watch a lot of other movies.
Or he's a hype man.
He doesn't watch
Yeah,
other movies.
I mean, yes, he is an extremely hyperbolic person.
Yeah.
I think in general, though, in a sense, I understand where he's coming from with this a little bit. Is that David and Elijah are just normal people in Unbreakable. They're just people. David has no idea until he gets in that train crash who he is, and Elijah is just sort of testing the waters. He's like, I'm gonna kill some people and see if I can find somebody who can save them.
Right.
But and then I think Kevin's character is the one that's starting to bring it into the realm of supernatural a little bit more. One thing I do think is interesting is that they've referenced a couple times, and they talk about it in Unbreakable when Elijah's discussing comic books, and he talks about the structure of comic books.
Sure.
About the introduction of the hero, and then the introduction of the villain, and then the third act is the standoff between them.
Yeah.
And essentially that's what Shyamalan's done with these 3 movies. Is people are saying that Split is one of the only movies that's really just a super villain movie. You have no hero, you have no nothing. But we got Unbreakable was the introduction of the hero, David Dunn, and then Split is the introduction of the villain, Kevin, and then this third one is going to be the third act. It's just going to be the confrontation. And I mean, I think a lot of us in Unbreakable thought, well, Elijah's the villain, but is he? Elijah sort of, he's not even a villain. He's a mastermind. He's in his own mind, he's a hero. He's an anti-hero. I don't know what you would
you know
call
what
him,
though?
but I don't know that...
out of the 3 characters, out of James McAvoy, Bruce Willis, and Sam Jackson. Sam Jackson's character is the actual one that is the most believable, and he's the one that is most comic book. Yeah. He's this person who really believes that there's this line of good and evil, and his role is to create superheroes. That's freaking ridiculous, but that's also more believable than Bruce Willis's character or
James McAvoy's character.
I
that's right.
think it's super interesting to watch essentially 3 acts of a movie play out over 3 movies instead of if you take another take something else that's an extended comic books thing like Marvel or something like that. Each movie is still contained within itself as hero, villain, standoff, and these movies really don't have that situation. I mean, Split, he never has a standoff. Casey's not the hero who's standing off.
But is that the girl's name?
She escapes, but he's gone.
But she's actually. I was talking with a friend the other day about how Split gets kind of thrown under the radar for a type of movie that it actually really is, and that is another one of the Last Girl type movies where you got Halloween, which was the first major one, but Casey is a perfect last girl because she is a survivor, and but also she's sympathetic and she understands that Kevin is unwell, and that this whole it's not I'm gonna kill you because you're evil. It's this whole you're sick. I need to get away from you so that things can get better.
Right.
And I really like that message that was in Split. So you kind of see it in the trailer for Glass a little bit because you kind of see that interaction between James McAvoy and what's the actress that plays Casey?
Well, her name is Anya Taylor-Joy.
Perfect.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah, so she's fantastic.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, definitely. Number 4 leads us right into Casey at Bat. So Anya Taylor-Joy played Casey in Split, and she's had a lot of really good roles in her relatively short career at this point.
Yep.
She was really introduced to everybody as Thomason in The Witch. She was Morgan in Morgan and Lily in Thoroughbreds this past year. She's also going to star in the upcoming series, The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance.
I know Neil's excited.
It's going to be awesome.
Sorry.
As Casey, she endured a lot from the actions of Kevin, the Beast in Split, and it'll be fascinating to see how her character develops in Glass. So, yeah, I think, like you said, I definitely think obviously Split is James McAvoy's movie start to finish, but she stands out. She really holds her own. I mean, the other two girls are what they're supposed to be in the movie, and there's nothing wrong with them, but she just, like, every time she's on screen, she's definitely present and
it follows a
commanding.
trope. It follows a trope a little bit, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, it kind of establishes that she's the innocent a little.
Yeah.
And these two other girls, they're being punished for their sins.
Yep.
And that, I mean, that's a common horror movie concept. And the fact that she'd be a last girl, she follows all the rules to be a last girl. So it's neat to see a movie that's carrying that on, because a lot of times when you see the last girl in a film, and I'm not saying girl not being disrespectful for women, that's the actual term. It's called last girl.
Right.
When that happens, if they ever come back in a sequel, they're like the badass that kills the bad guy, you know. Whereas it doesn't seem like that's going to happen in this film.
And I think that was
But she's still a kid,
Right.
you know, and that's important.
I think that was one of the interesting things they did with her character was she wasn't just trying to get away, and they showed us why she possibly could identify with Kevin as a person. Like, you know, she has her own trauma in her life, and that's causing her to identify with him. It's causing her to understand why he's broken, essentially, you know. And I think that'll definitely play out in Glass for sure. I think that is the interesting part. You talked about how M. Night Shyamalan has a lot of characters and he brings them all together, and I think Glass is going to show that very well. I mean, again, we talked about, like, you know, Kevin Crumb is the villain, but is it his fault? Elijah is this mastermind manipulator, whatever, but in his own mind, he thinks he's doing something good.
Right.
And, you know, Casey, you know, understands the danger, but she doesn't necessarily want to hurt people. Like, you have a lot of these people at play that aren't just one thing. They have a lot of different ideas going on. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see her character come back and what she could, you know, she was left in a, you know, cop car going back to her horrible uncle at the end of the movie, like, but she just experienced this thing, like, where is that going to lead her, you know?
Right. And that was super realistic and sad, but
Right.
you know, but what's also great is every villain that is within their right mind to a certain extent, they think that they're doing something good.
Yep.
Whereas, so that's definitely Glass. He thinks he's doing something good. You know, Bruce Willis's character, Dunn, I mean, he thinks he's doing something good. He could possibly be causing damage.
Yeah.
Sure.
Whereas, like, out of the three of them, though, Kevin's kind of still the victim here because he's not necessarily in complete control of his actions.
Right.
So it's interesting to see how they're playing that. So
I'm curious too the timeline of how far this Glass takes place after Split. Like, what, you know, has it been a year? Has it been like 6 months? Has it been like 3 days? Like, what, you know, what,
Yeah.
where
I
does
mean,
it
we don't
pick
even
up
know
from
how Kevin
Got captured.
caught.
Yeah.
Right,
Caught.
right.
or why Dunn is really in this mental institution.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of up in the air, for sure.
And
This is gonna be
does
a
like
battle.
Sarah Paulson's character, like, does she she doesn't believe that they're
We don't know.
they
Well,
have
she
abilities.
does though. She believes that they're extraordinary because
She believes that
describes
they believe,
it.
and I think that's how she says it. And that you know, you believe, like, and it's real because you, like, that's how she presents
Yeah.
it. It's real to them, so it's real.
Right,
So
and I'm
it's
just
real.
imagining the Casey character trying to say, "No, it's real. I saw it."
I watched this happen.
Yeah.
So I'm bend the bars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sam Jackson would be like, I saw Bruce Willis. I know what he's capable of. He survived this horrible thing.
Yeah.
They're all there.
Again, though, normal human bodies in extreme situations, but taken a step or two further, which is interesting. So it's still within the possibility of, like, oh, that could happen, but you know, there's fantasy too. So
All right, let's go on to number 3, guys. This is A Hard Day's Right. So the shoot for the movie took about 39 days, and it was based on a 134-page script for Glass. Sixth Sense was about 114 pages, whereas Split was 155 pages. The average feature-length script is right around 100 pages. So M. Night said Glass is the hardest movie he's ever had to make. He started writing the script the week that Split came out in theaters 2 years ago, which is nuts. So.
Again, the king of hyperbole right there.
Yeah.
Well, he said too, and reading about him too, he said like that, Split was the hardest movie he had to make before now Glass, so he's
Right.
like, this is
But meanwhile, like the first couple films he made must have been very difficult to
Yeah.
make.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, there's
Definitely.
with almost no budget and so okay. All right.
Do you think nowadays with like the Avengers and people trying to avoid spoilers, do you think with Sixth Sense like he had to like tell the people on the set like don't tell people that Bruce Willis is dead? Was that like a thing back in, or
think
like
so.
because the internet was around, like you could look up stuff if you wanted to.
Yeah, but it wasn't like it is now.
Yeah.
He
And
didn't have to give the majority of those actors a full script.
Well, that's true too. A
Right.
lot of them just have like a scene or two.
Yeah, the only
right?
people that saw an entire script was Bruce Willis and Haley Joel Osment.
yeah, but
That's true, yeah.
did Bruce Willis see an entire script? I mean, the way they shot that, they could have just been like, oh yeah, you're dead. Because I mean, he does act like he doesn't know what's going on,
Right.
and it could be like what is it called? The Usual Suspects, or whereas like people just kind of didn't know as they were
know.
filming,
And Bruce
True.
Willis
which is a great way to do it.
Bruce Willis is notorious for not learning lines, so
Yeah.
maybe he just,
Don't be a hater.
M. Night-
Don't be a
Night-
hater.
And it's like, I gotta cast somebody, but not someone who's willing to read the whole script. Yeah,
He's my guy.
and like
This one,
the casting agent's like, I
Fifty
might
Cent
have
piece.
someone for you. Have you ever heard of Hudson Hawk?
Wow.
amazing.
A Hard Day's Right, huh? That's
I like that.
Listening
Clever.
to the Beatles.
Oh yeah,
Very well
I
done.
like that.
Oh well, leading into another song pun. Number 2, Money for Nothing.
Ooh.
Unbreakable cost $75 million to make and grossed $95 million. Split was made for $9 million and ended up grossing $138 million. Wow, that is crazy.
Eat it, Unbreakable.
The budget for Glass is said to be at $20 million. Do you think Glass will enjoy the same commercial success of Split, which with its modest production costs? How much do you think goes to the actors?
Not as much as it used to.
Sam Jackson gets about $7 million for his movies.
It's true.
Which is not a lot.
No, and I mean, no.
Right.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I was,
you know,
I don't, just the other day I was
above
hearing about
average.
this, how like actors don't make money the way they used to. I mean, again, it's still a ridiculous amount of money for
Right.
like that job, but still, like Unbreakable's $75 million budget. I bet a huge chunk of that went to Bruce Willis and to Sam Jackson.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And you had other people, Robin Wright. You had like all these other people.
Yeah.
And actors just aren't pulling the kind of money. Like if you think about, I know it's a TV reference, but you think about like the Friends, they all make $1 million per episode. Like that is not the way it
The
is
last season,
happening,
$7 million an episode.
like it's absurd.
Insane.
Yeah.
So in some ways you could say maybe that's a good thing for the industry because people are able to,
Actually,
get more actors.
I like
don't
it
know,
because it
but-
makes a better story.
Yeah.
When you get actors that are involved because they want to be.
Right,
I
for
mean,
the money.
you got to make the money, obviously. I get it. But Arnold Schwarzenegger has been doing this thing where he's making movies for no money.
Right.
He's just doing them
Right.
just to, and it's not like, hey, I need attention. It's more like I've got enough money now. I want to make
Right.
Maggie, which was a good movie, but he did it for free. So I like this idea that the actors are not getting paid as much. I'd never like to think that $7 million is a living wage.
Yeah.
But like
They're just barely making it.
there's a lot of
Scraping
costs.
by.
There's a lot of
bad for
costs in a
these
movie,
guys.
and like it
times are
costs a
hard.
ton of money to make trailers. It costs a ton of money
Yeah.
to distribute this stuff. There's a lot of costs that we don't know about.
Well, I mean, a good portion of the success of Split was word of mouth. I
Absolutely.
mean, I had no desire to see it Well,
Controversy helped.
Yeah. Well, controversy, but the fact that it was actually a decent film and that there was something like I remember the buzz when it came out was you got to see it. You just got to see it.
Yeah.
It's like why do I have to? It's that tie-in at the end was really what kind of got
right. You had a well done movie with a sweet tie-in at the end, and you're just like, oh,
that wasn't necessary either.
You again, some people didn't even know about, like we talked about, didn't even know that of Unbreakable before they watched Split, but like that was just that extra piece that you couldn't have left that movie disappointed. Like nothing about that would have been like, it wasn't as good as I hoped it to be, because it was really good. It was awesome.
Yeah, right.
I think it's interesting too with the money piece though. So because Nick just before we got to this point said like, oh well, his first movies he must have been scraping by, but Unbreakable was only his second big feature, and he didn't. He had a huge budget, $75 million. What has happened is, I guess, when he came back, when he did The Visit, he completely self-funded that. And then he self-funded Split. And now he's self-funding Glass again. He, like, put his house up, like, you know, he's like...
And I like The Visit. That was...
And that shows
I forget about that
difference.
movie.
When you're hungry, when it's coming out of your own pocket, you care.
Right.
Like, you're like, okay,
and I think
I have something to lose.
Right.
But it's not like he's not eating dinner anymore.
No,
you know what I mean? But still.
His kids aren't
I
eating.
think that's, you know, I think maybe, you know, we talk a lot about like kind of the rise and fall of M. Night Shyamalan, and like this is part, I think part of that is like in the way the studio system was back in like the, you know, early 2000s, it was like, oh, you had one success, take all the money and just do all the things. And it was producing bad I mean, for a while it worked. Unbreakable was great, and then, you know, The Village was good and Signs was good, but then things started going down, but they were still giving him money.
I think Unbreakable suffers from the high budget, from everything, like the special effects and all that looked cheesy, because I mean they're using state-of-the-art effects, but it's just like, man, why?
Yeah.
It's like the George Lucas story.
Yeah.
The original trilogy were amazing because they were hungry.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
And then here's all the money you could possibly want. All right, let me make the prequel.
Yeah. And it's like now that
they were phenomenal.
he sort of had to fight his way back into it. He
Right.
was like, I'm going to do the best I can with what I have.
Right.
Of, you know.
He's always lived on that cusp of indie director vibe, you know, where he's always this outsider, somewhat of an elitist. Like his interviews are like he's aloof in a lot of his interviews, and he's not like a hot shot, you know.
Right.
The buried
likable.
secrets of the village. You ever seen that documentary where they like?
Like
these guys go and like, you know, film on set and all this creepy stuff's happening, and like they're supposed to get an interview with M. Night, and then he doesn't show up, and then they have an interview and there's no audio with it and everything. It's wild.
It's actually a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, the hoax being that he drowned as a kid and like died for a few minutes and then came back, and now he's able to like connect to the supernatural. Well, there's this whole marketing
so
thing.
It starts as a documentary about the village, and then it ends up about a documentary about M. Night Shyamalan and how he's not actually a person.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But then it was all just
borrow it.
a hoax to basically sell the village.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was good. I loved it.
Yeah, they did a good job.
If you get the Village on like DVD or
Yeah,
Blu-ray,
it's
on there. It's pretty good.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah.
Interesting.
Are you ready?
Almost as interesting as number one.
Number one. What a twist!
Unexpected. So no matter what anyone tells you, no one saw the twist coming to connect the two films. In past years, most consumers have passed on M. Night Shyamalan films after his many failures. Now, just out of speculation, but there's been something wild hidden in the movie, right?
Sure.
Blumhouse produced The Visit, which wasn't widely known, but very well received by critics. M. Night then took out a loan against himself to get this film made, and Jason Blum was the only one to give him a shot.
Like you said, Leah.
But you know what? That's okay, because Blum will make terrible films.
That's true.
And that's okay, because there's lots of diamonds in the rough there.
There really
though.
It's true.
Like so many actors, like, you know, you'll see a movie that just goes straight to DVD and it's got like 3 huge names on it. You're like, did they expect that movie to like do that, or do they expect this to become like a big awards movie or a big, you know, blockbuster movie? And then the fact that doesn't happen is crazy. Like if you were a major actor getting $7 million a picture, like you wouldn't expect your movie to like just get shelved for a while, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of the actors, when they go in and they do a film, even while they're filming it, they really don't know what the end product is going to look like.
Right.
I mean, again, with Star Wars, when they filmed Star Wars, Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, they had no idea what was going to happen in post.
I feel like there's a lot of artists, there's a lot of actors that suffer from that, like Ray Liotta. You know, like there's actors who are like, I'm making a really great movie here, and then it turns out and it's like, oh, it's straight to DVD.
Right.
Now it's straight to Netflix.
Right.
Now that's the thing. Straight to Netflix. Hulu
Except Netflix
original.
is throwing all the money at them. You know,
Yeah.
take all the funds.
You know, thank God Adam Sandler has work.
Oh God.
Right.
no.
But
at all.
do we think there's going to be, you know, if M. Night Shyamalan's the twist guy, and I know he doesn't want to be, is there going to be like something to this movie that
I have
we're
a prediction of what the big twist is going to be.
Ooh, I
So-
can't wait.
I'm going to watch Unbreakable and then Split, and then right before we go and see Glass.
Are we doing it all together? We're doing it as a group.
Oh, you want to?
Yeah,
Sure.
I think so. I think
boy.
so.
All right,
Yeah.
so the twist is we're going to go through the entire movie, and at the very end, all of a sudden, you're going to see like this giant battle, and then they all stop, and they all turn towards the camera, and the camera turns around, and M. Night Shyamalan goes, "It's just a movie!" And then we were watching a movie the whole time. That's the big twist.
It's a good twist. It's a good twist. Yeah.
He's blown my mind.
Huh?
I don't.
Huh?
I didn't see that coming.
So you heard it here first.
I want that to be the twist. that works for me. Or Aang from Last Airbender comes out and just like, ha ha! It's a movie. A giant like air buffalo lands. And
There's just a tree, and it's just blowing in the wind.
everyone just drops dead.
Yep.
God.
I hope there's something more. You know, I mean, I know we're leading into it as sort of like the standoff movie, the between, you know, all of them
Boom.
coming together. But
Good, the
yeah,
bad, and the ugly.
I hope that something else comes of it too, not just, you know, whether that's from one of the three main characters or something from Casey or whatever. Like,
Sure.
you know, not because I need a twist in an M. Night Shyamalan movie. Again, like I don't think he intended to be that guy. I think that was sort of the place he was put
in
you
it
know,
there.
but
Yeah.
just because he is good, he's good at hiding things and then having it be there. I mean, it's interesting. It makes a great movie.
It's a
and it
great
makes-
part of storytelling.
Yeah, you know. And there's wild fan theories out there about these movies, and it's hilarious to read some of them. And people are really into it. There's a theory that Casey doesn't actually exist; that she's actually one of
A
Kevin's
manifestation.
personalities.
Yeah, totally.
You know, there's just all kinds of stuff. You know, so I think, you know, again, you had talked about being shoehorned in, and I think a lot of movies do that. And I think a lot of universes, if that's what we're calling them, you know, movies that have slight connections, do that. But I don't know, for some reason, I'm very like accepting of however he wants to build it. Like I'm just like, yes, you know, I
you're gonna be
believe
okay
you.
with it?
Yeah,
And I
like,
respect that. I respect
Yeah.
that. I like that. I like it when directors are kind of like, "What do you think?" You know, they're they let you.
Leave it up to
Whereas
you.
like one of my favorite directors, Ridley Scott, he's the opposite of that. Whereas
No.
he'll be like, "Nope, that theory is wrong. This is exactly what it means."
Yeah.
And he'll explain it, and then I'm like, "Oh, I kind of don't like it as much anymore."
Yeah.
Whereas like M. Night Shyamalan's kind of like, "Oh yeah, I did that."
I meant to do that.
That's right. I like that. I'll take it out.
And that's good. That's good storytelling. And I agree with you. I don't believe that he was meant to be like the twist guy. You know, what is it? Adult Swim had that claymation show. What's that claymation show that Adult Swim does?
Robot Chicken.
Robot Chicken. You know, they had the M. Night Shyamalan episode where it's just like, what a twist! I don't think M. Night Shyamalan's that guy. I think he's a great storyteller,
Yeah.
and the movies I like are the ones where the story aspects of it outshine the twist. Like
Well-
Signs is great until the very end, and then
Yeah.
you're like, what?
Yeah. And I think, honestly, sometimes his movies suffer a little bit in the general population from advertising, especially now. I mean,
Yeah.
Split, I think, was a great example of that. People are expecting, like, action, 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 action. And honestly, for an M. Night Shyamalan movie, there was kind of a lot of action.
Yeah.
But
That's a
good point.
We, you know, I loaned our copies of Unbreakable and Split to one of our employees, and she's like, oh my God, they're so boring. Like, and I was like, what? But again, like, he
Right.
is story is his thing, and the
Yeah.
rest of it is just set pieces around it, you know? So I think regardless of the product and how it's packaged at the end, there's going to be good story packed into
I'm just
Glass.
gonna be angry though if there is a twist, and it's one of those like, What?
Yeah.
Wait,
If it
was
takes
a
away
dream?
from
Wait,
the
Paul
whole time.
Giamatti's character
Yeah.
is the is the mastermind.
Yeah.
What?
they're
No.
all actually in a comic.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was a
comic book
dream.
the
It
whole
was a
time.
virtual reality experience.
The whole
Super
time.
Mario Brothers 2.
No, but you know what? I think M. Night Shyamalan is aware of these like things, and I hope he has the taste to try to stay away. Like The Visit. Did you see The Visit?
Yeah, I did.
I liked that movie. It didn't seem super twist heavy. It was just kind of like, oh, this is disturbing.
This is what they're doing.
This is disturbing. And then there's other movies that tried to be like The Visit. Did you see Mom and Dad? Nicolas Cage,
No.
Selma Blair.
You will literally watch anything Nicolas Cage is in, won't you?
Because you know what?
You are like ride or die for Nicolas Cage.
I actually don't like Nicolas Cage,
So weird.
but I will give him a chance. I feel like I owe that to him.
Why?
somehow. I don't know.
What did he ever do for
gonna
you
say, what-
that you owe
What
him?
happened?
Did he save your
What
life?
yeah, tell us the stories of Nicolas Cage.
I think I just really enjoyed Gone in 60 Seconds, which is a terrible film. Which is
That's
a terrible
the one,
film.
That's the one that you liked him in.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's not
I don't
Kevin
know, he's
Costner.
kinda killing
who just
it
makes
lately.
terrible movies.
He's got
Did you see
Mandy.
Mandy?
Oh my God! Stop talking about Mandy.
Mandy is a great movie. But anyway, what I'm getting to is that there's this strong essence of storytelling, and there's not a lot of directors that are concerned about storytelling. M. Night Shyamalan is concerned about storytelling, and I like that, even though I don't like all of his films. Like The Visit, it was good, but I don't know how I feel about it. Like, it's kind of like, I don't think I'd ever watch it again after I first saw it. But The Sixth Sense, I don't know if I loved that movie, but I definitely saw it several times. Lady in the Water, I watched over and over again. The Village, I happen to love that movie. I think it's great. I think it's a perfect little thing. God, there's no sequels.
Yeah.
You know,
They all get out and things go crazy.
well, there's
They all
enough
dress up in
story-
the creature
there's
costumes.
there's enough story there that they
Yeah.
could have done something. But
Certainly.
where do you go after a major twist in a film?
Right.
And the fact that M. Night Shyamalan was able to tie 3 movies together that have pretty substantial twists, I think that's really cool. I'm very interested to see how it's going to work out, if it will work out.
Oh, it's gonna work out.
Yeah.
But guys, that's our list for Glass. That's our top 12. So did we convince you to go see it? Are you gonna rewatch Unbreakable and Split like we're gonna do before you go see it?
Yeah.
Are you gonna give M. Night Shyamalan another chance if you've let him go a couple years ago?
Let us know by commenting on our Facebook page.
And are you listening to us on Spotify? Or on the at our northvolume.com.
No, but you can also listen to on iTunes and also
Yep.
Google Play.
Yep.
So, yep.
So,
lots of opportunities.
Yeah. And thanks again to North Volume for hosting us today. And Neil, nice digs you have here. Nice and brand new.
Thanks, Leah. We like it here, and thank you for hanging out with us
Of course.
on Top 12. Gentlemen, I think that's it.
Bye-bye, everybody. Oh, wait, hold on. Actually, this is the beginning of the show.
Oh, the twist! Oh,
See you at the movies.